Hello, good evening. Welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series. It is season 11 and we're already on to round 8 and it's only February. In a month where F1 starts its 75th anniversary celebrations, we're also starting our 5th anniversary celebrations, slightly unofficially, but we're going to count it anyway, because this is the first of our 2 races this week, of course, and they're both going to be part of Throwback Week, which is a returning feature for this season of the Cup. It was good in these games because you had plenty of livery templates that you could use and create exciting designs with, so hopefully we'll see plenty around here. Spa, round it. I am your commentator, Owen White. With me, I have got Jacko. Hopefully I've given you enough time to do everything you need to do.
More than enough time. You've spoken too much, if anything. Good evening, everyone. What was I going to say? I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. That's a good start. Belgium Throwback Week, a good game to do it on as well. Some throwback names as well. Jamie Griffiths is here with us once again. No OKK, sadly, winner of course of the first throwback race, but I'm sure the winner tonight will make us very proud nonetheless. You can tell I got forgotten what I was going to say because I'm sort of waffling as per usual.
You've almost been too nice. I'm not going to be proud of any of this.
But it is very dark. We'll move on, Owen.
Yes. What's interesting is that since it's Throwback Week, normally Jacko asks the drivers to send him a list of what the drivers are running, but he hasn't, which doesn't really help me at all because I'm rubbish at telling these most of the time. And I don't know how good you are at it, because I always worry they're going to have NASCAR ones in here that I'll have no chance of knowing what they are. I know what Baz is running, and that's about as far as I know. So it's not a very good start, really, but oh well, we'll have to work it out as we go.
Well, Owen, I can tell you, by leaving the drivers to their own devices, about 5 of them have told me what they're running. One of them, obviously Bazza, has tweeted his own out, so we know his. The rest of them, I did say to the group in chat, I said, you just run something, be creative, and then me and Owen will work it out. So yes. Even the ones that have shared with me what they're running, we're going to do what we think is best. Apart from Jamie Griffiths, who I believe is running the Jeff Gordon Flames scheme, because that's 20th anniversary of that last Daytona 500 win that Jeff Gordon got 20 years ago. He's up second, but first of all, it's Florian Meyer.
Yes, he's coming out of the pits in, well, it's white and it's red, but it's because it's so dark, I can't tell what colour the wee strip along the side actually meant to be. To be honest, is it meant to be gold?
I can tell you exactly what it's meant to be. It's meant to be the BAR 001.
Yes, that would explain the gold then. Well, do you know what? It's a shame that the game doesn't let you see sponsors, isn't it? Because I'm sure drivers may have designed some sponsors to go alongside the colours, so I'm really hoping that a lot of the base paint designs are good enough on their own. But it's interesting that we've got these conditions for qualifying, because as I do every week, I look back on our previous races here, and for once we raced on this track in both seasons 2 and 3. I think the only other race we've done that so far, or the only 2 races, were Singapore and Silverstone. The rest we only raced on once, or in Spain's case, never, apart from in the Kia series, because as we established last week, it's rubbish. But anyway, in Season 2's qualifying session, we saw a first ever pole position for Jordan. I know, a whole 7 seasons before he won his only race. But it was because it rained before all of the fast drivers could come out. But the point is, looking at how dark it is out here, that very well could happen again. The time that day was a 1 minute 42.111. In Season 3, it was a more traditional qualifying, and a name we're very used to being at the top. It was Corey on pole that day, 1 minute 41.567. Corey and Tony have been beaten a little bit over their lap times. They're both sitting in the 40s at the moment, so if they can replicate that on track here in qualifying, we're in for a fantastic session. But I just can't shake the feeling that it's going to rain at some point.
Yeah, and hopefully it does, but I'm sure we'll find out as time goes on. Let's look at Florian's lap then, shall we? already up through Eau Rouge and Radion and onto the first stretch of DRS. This will take us down to turn 4. This is the Camel Straight. I don't know what the chicane's called. I never do. That's Owen's job to tell me what the corner names are. But through he goes. Romain Grosjean crashed here in 2009 with Lewis Hamilton. And this is where Kieran Spears shoved Jake O'Sullivan off a couple seasons ago for a race win, nonetheless.
That caused a red flag there as well.
And yes, you did. I think I had a crash there myself, actually, in Kia Series. I believe that's No Name. I'm sure it is. And this is this Puhon coming up?
Yes.
Yes, look at that. I know stuff. Keep it within the white lines, which Florian does again, the first of 5 Germans this evening. And into this very camber and an off camber, right and left. Once, if you get it right and hook it up, it does gain you a good handful of tenths. And then into Sector 3, this is where my Championship 5 went bust a couple seasons ago in the Kia Series. And now it's all flat out, all the way to the bus stop chicane. Lots of speed can be gathered up through here. Some moves can be lined up and made to happen as you approach the bus stop chicane. And what will Florian do? He gets his braking point just right. Clips the apex a little bit wide though. Does tuck it in nicely for the second part. Easy on the traction as he comes out of that, and then over the line for a 1:43.5, which I can assure you, Owen Wyatt, will be beaten.
Oh yes, that'll be beaten. And it looks to me like it's starting to brighten up actually out there, which I know is now going to be followed by it raining, but it certainly is already looking like the sun's trying to come out, so we maybe don't have to worry about the rain. As exciting as that would be, you know, for a mixed up grid, I really do want to see if Corey and Tony are like well into the 40s in this session. As Dustin, our Joker driver, is running the mystery machine, really. But apart from that, I don't know what car I don't know what racing car it's meant to be. I can't think of anything to mind here.
Open to interpretation. Let's just go with the 1969 GT40. That seems to work with the Golf livery for me.
Yeah,
that's the
it's got to be Golf. It's got to be Golf something.
Yeah. And he's got that awful glitch. We've not spoken about this glitch that much, have we, this season? The one where it's sort of like, can you hear it? Or is it just me that's got that?
What's the glitch?
The sound glitch where I don't know how to describe it. It sounds like he's a ghost almost. This is the Joker driver, though, by the way.
I think I know what you mean. Luckily, I don't have it, but I haven't had it all season. Actually, I don't think. So I think we've been getting away with it on streams. But I know which one you mean. As our Joker goes second fastest again, as Jack has said. That's going to fall quite dramatically throughout this session, we expect. Leroy Hasselager is coming up next in what could be one of two things. This could be a Renault, or it could be a Colton Herta machine. Maybe a Zach Veach if you're feeling particularly nostalgic. I don't know if he said it, but it's certainly got the right colours for one of those two options, Renault or Andretti Global, as they're known now.
He hasn't said it. So I think we should just go with the 2010 Renault, don't you?
Yeah, I'll go with it. Although I am a Colton Herta fan, so you know. But mind you, I mean, this is more of a throwback if we go with the Renault. So yeah, we'll go with the further throwback.
Because we've had enough of throwbacks where they weren't really throwbacks. They were doing it from the same season. That annoyed me. So we're going to go as old as possible.
We might even see something in the future in this case, because this is based in 2020. I wonder how many have thought about
that. Robin Border has invalidated. This looks like the Saudi Williams, though, if I was to spend any time thinking about it.
It could be the Earth Dreams car, the 2008 edition, for the especially on the onboard. It's one of my favourites. Liveries. I don't know why. It is ugly, really, when you think about it. But I don't know. I always liked its on-board shot, which we are watching now. I know it's invalid, but I just wanted to make my point.
It's the next one I'm.
It's also got a 22 on there as well for button, so we'll go. I'm going to go with that.
Makes a lot of sense. Now Jamie Griffiths lied to me. He said he's going to run the Flames car that Jeff Gordon ran at the Daytona 500 20 years ago. I mean, he's got the colouring spot on, but there are no flames.
He's tried. There's a bit of a gradient on it.
Yeah, well, he should have tried a bit better. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but it is good nonetheless to have a NASCAR livery.
Indeed. And it is something that you can recognise as well, at least. So, you know, as long as the intent has come through, at least we can say he's tried, because it's better than someone bring out a default livery and doing nothing to it, which I am always sort of worried is going to happen for these. But I trust the drivers enough that they aren't going to. As Jamie around the final corner, this looks good for P1, and it is P1, but we're not into the 42s yet, let alone the 41s or the 40s. I wonder if Baza can get close. He is the next car up. He's in the R20.
So far.
R28, it is indeed the best one so far. This is a 2-time race winning F1 car, and one of them was a bit cheaty, and the other one that everyone forgot about. But oh well, what can you do about it? At least it's the livery or the template I'd probably be using for these, because it actually has sort of straight lines on it. That's the one thing about these liveries. Actually, it's good for like normal liveries, but if you want to make a throwback, they're actually not that accommodating, to be honest. So yeah, Baza's done quite well. I wonder if we'll see a few more with this sort of template on it. But anyway, through the final chicane, looked a bit messy, but nothing too concerning for Baza, as he sets the second slowest times, and maybe he won't be too happy with it. But I felt like he could have put that on the wall at some point, and he didn't. So yeah, he's made it anyway. He survived.
A bit of a whatever lap from Baza. This is Ben Harrett, by the way, who's just messaged me about 5 minutes ago to say he had to leave and rejoin the lobby because he had the wrong car selected. Whatever he had selected, he probably should have stayed with it, because this looks awful.
Benetton?
What is it?
Is it a Benetton, or is it a Jordan?
Oh, maybe.
A bad 7-Up Jordan?
Or is it the Earth Dreams car from 2007?
Don't know.
Hang on. Let me check my earlier messages from Ben Harrett, see if he actually told me what he was going to run, because I mean, I'm sort of semi with you on the Benetton thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Here you go. Michael Schumacher's debut car in Belgium, so I thought it went well. So yeah, it is the Benetton.
Well, no, that would be the Jordan, then. That would be the 91 Jordan.
Oh, yes, of course it would.
It's a bit too much blue, I think, on it, but and the green's hideous. But you know, what can you do? Apart from just design it better, I suppose, which is what he could have done. Instead, he's gone second fastest. These times are really slow, Jacko. I'm not going mad. These are slow times from all of them so far.
You are. I agree with you. Well, let's have a competent driver next then. Sullivan. This time he's turned up in the. I'm going to go with a 1998 Jordan. Did that not win round here?
I did. Although I must say the first thing that came to mind actually was the yellow Lotuses back from the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, the camel ones, Senna's one.
But, you know, the first thing that came to mind before I opened my mouth was actually Max Biaggi's camel MotoGP bike. He does go fastest though. Yes. By 8 tenths as well. Sorry, 6 tenths. That's the best lap we've seen. And now we're going to see a really competent driver.
He's invalid, isn't he? I did get a wee glimpse of it, and it is invalid.
Oh, no.
Right, is this one a Benetton? Because it's a lighter blue, the mild 7 blue, and it's a lighter green. So I'm going to say that is a Benetton from 94.
Gareth said that Ben Shaw copied him, didn't he? And Ben Shaw messaged me saying he's running the 1990 Leighton House machine.
Right, okay. That's probably, yeah, I can see it as well. Although, if Gareth wants to quickly claim Benetton off me, in case he was going to Leighton House, because Benetton's the first thing that came to mind, especially with this bit of white that went through it.
Message from Ben Shaw. Me and Gareth have purely by accident gone for the same exact livery, so Leighton 1990 is what you're looking at.
What's this? This is colours I've never seen before. It's gone fastest by nearly 7 tenths of a second.
What is that?
It's fast. I'd say that much, but
I don't know what it is, though.
It's like bizarre. Well, I'm sure it's you'll need to ask him. I don't know.
I'll ask
no
him.
idea.
By the way, this is nice. Mike Kettleborn, I like this. Pasta Maldonado.
Do you know, this is the one livery actually where F124 would have been perfect, because the Williams of this era, you can basically recreate like directly this livery with one of the first liveries you get on the game. One of the 2 or 3 they actually give you. You can make the Rothmans one as well, pretty much identical.
Yeah.
But still,
really good.
It's nicely done here. I like the deep blue. I always like the deep blue on those Williamses. And yeah, let's hope it has some speed for Mike, who we know does have a bit of speed on this game. Certainly capable of a podium, which we saw in Singapore. Let's see how he gets on in qualifying here. Should be on for the top 5. It's very tight between Ben Shaw or Ben Spurs, sorry, and Leroy, and that sort of gap in there. I'm expecting the gap at the top to be like that as well. It often happens in Spa that we have a really close gap in qualifying. Jamie Wright, though, is not going to be at the top on those mediums. This is certainly playing the long game somewhat, and if he can get into the top 10, it'd be impressive. But with what livery? It could be the pre-season Red Bull from 2018, but that's just the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm sure there's an actual proper raced livery he's thinking of.
I've got no idea on this one. In 2018, Red Bull from pre-season testing in Spain. That's all I can really think of.
It was this.
We'll follow him to the line, though. Big moment.
Very big moment. He's gone
P3.
That's not too bad, actually. That might just get him into the top 10 on those tyres.
Oh, here we go. Now we're talking, Owen. Force India. Kieran Spears, who, by the way, said to remind you, he's racing on pad tonight. But even if he's awful, he's going to look good doing it. This is a fantastic rendition of the sort of mid-2000s Force India. It actually broke into like the 2011-2010 season, didn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a 2011. This is, I think, closest to that one, because it's the one where it was all orange on the onboard. And I like it. It's only gone P5 though, so
that's nice.
you can see the struggles with the pace there. But now we're going to see Arnaud heading round, and this is another mystery machine, or is it another? It's not even Gulf. It's way too dark to be Gulf. What's this meant to be?
I don't know. He's not told me.
Haven't a clue.
So instead, I'll give you a fact about Arnaud. He won this race from last on the grid once on this game. In fact. I believe that was.
I think that was part of a streak as well. He won, I think, 2 or 3 races in a row from last on the grid. He was on a certain level of form at that point in time, but we know he's very quick here in his home track. Although I do recall he won a race here once, maybe it was that same race, by causing a safety car himself. I think it was as he goes fastest.
Yeah.
It was back when if you could only pit under a safety car if you had damage, and he'd gone and lost his whole front wing, brought a safety car out, and got to make his pit stop, which won the race. It was something like that. I forget exactly which season it was, maybe the race you're talking about. But yeah, one of the quirks of this track, Arnaud was able to take advantage of the rules. And here is another Leighton House, as we said. I've got to say, I think Gareth is a lot nicer looking, to be honest. Do you know what? If we're gonna shall we just claim this as Leighton House, and I'm gonna keep calling Gareth the Benetton, because it just looks like a Benetton to me, the one that Gareth ran. And this is certainly more Leighton House.
P1. There
Indeed.
You go. By the way, Pete Knighton's car is a 1990s Jag from Le Mans.
Oh, right, okay. I haven't a clue what he's on about, but I respect it. It looks like... Is this not the same livery that Tony ran last week? So what's this in reference?
This is different. This is invalidated as well. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
It's the same as last week's livery, I'm pretty sure. But I'm sure there's plenty of cars that look like it.
Late call up for Tony as well, in fairness to him, so he will start no higher than P16. Leaves us with Owen with 3. Johannes, the first of those yellow and red machine.
What's this then? Because again, this could be many different things. I don't know. It reminds me of like.
I'm liking it.
It reminds me of one of the IndyCar Penske's from a while ago, or maybe one of. But it's not like the DHL cars that they have now, but don't even for Penske anymore, I don't think. But it's I forget who drove them, but it's definitely the yellow one with just a red strip up the middle of it. Either way, I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I don't think Johannes has much allegiance to NASCAR, but if you're going Penske, then obviously you're looking at Pennzoil and Shell. So
maybe that
could be Logano.
Yeah. Well, it could even be the. I'm thinking even the IndyCar ones.
Yeah.
Because they also ran that.
Anyway,
I think it was Castaneves ran one that like this at some point. But anyway, as you say, the lap time. Not that fast.
Not that fast. Okay, 2 to go. Jake O'Sullivan first. White and blue. Now, he has told me, so you guess, and then I'll correct you.
Oh, well, it's just a white and blue car. I mean, this could be anything. I don't know. I'll go BMW Williams. It has the right sort of colours for that.
You're not going to get it. You're very wrong. It's, in fact, this evening's first Ferrari. A 1964 Ferrari Formula One car. I can't tell you anything about it because I don't know anything about it. But it was did have blue wheels.
It was ran in blue in protest, I think. I forget what the protest was about, but this is why everyone was so excited when Ferrari were teasing the blue Miami livery last year, because they thought it would be this.
Yeah.
I would never have guessed it. You are right, but it does look nice. I'm a fan of it. As Jake rounds the final corner, he's not going to be anywhere near fastest either. So it's all on Corey here, but he's had an accident.
Oh.
And he's invalidated. It's all gone wrong here. So Ben Shaw's on pole. Let me just be clear. Tony and Corey are the two fastest drivers around here, I think, and they're going to be starting 17th and 18th. We didn't need the rain. We've already got the mixing up all naturally, which means Ben Shaw's on pole. It means that Jamie Wright has qualified in the top 10 on mediums. What on earth did Corey do?
I don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll find out. But what that does, a Ben Shaw pole
Again.
puts him on 24. Yeah, again. The record is 28. Is Ben Shaw going to reclaim his pole record this season? For the season, though, Ben Shaw, that's 3 poles more than anybody else. Corey, meanwhile, fucking useless.
What is the livery he's running?
I've got no idea.
Because I can't think of anything, unless it's like one of the status GP cars from back in the day, back in the Junior Series days, but there's no way he'll have thought of that, surely. I just don't know what it is, though. I haven't a clue. It's the 18th fastest car, though. That's all we need to worry about. And that is a surprise. So it's Ben Shaw, Arnaud, and Pete, who are the top 3. The pole time, 1 minute 41.437. That is quicker than Corey's pole from season 3, which was our previous fastest pole here. But yeah, it's a session where we focus a lot on the liveries, and in fairness, as it turns out, no one was really threatening at any point, really, were they? I mean, when Ben Shaw got his time, it just didn't look like anyone was getting close, apart from the two who then went and invalidated anyway. So yeah, I think we spent our time well just looking at the liveries, I think.
It was a very successful qualifying. Sometimes we struggle to talk about things, but that went rather well. I'm very, very excited to see those 2 idiots come through from the back.
I know, I can't wait.
Is this the break that the likes of Ben Shaw, Arnaud de Grief, and Pete Knighton, by the way, in P3?
Who's that? I didn't mention. No one mentioned him.
Hang on, that reminds me. I have a stat for you, Owen.
Have you?
Yeah, it's 169 races since Pete Knighton last won in JACKOCAR.
Oh dear.
But those 3 up front, plus obviously Johannes and Jake is there as well. No Tony, no Corey. If they can keep away from them, no safety cars, we're going to finally get ourselves a different race winner tonight, which is what I personally would like. Stage points, lap 7 and 17, and 1 joker, Dustin Rolko, who starts ahead of the idiots behind him.
Like I said, this should create 22 of the most exciting laps you're going to see this season. All of the sins that were caused by that horror show in Spain are going to be forgotten by the end of this. Again, it's looking pretty miserable out there in terms of the cloud. It's been threatening to be wet at various points this season. It always ended up happening too late. I wonder if we're going to see rain in this race. Maybe that's why Jamie Wright qualified himself on a set of mediums to run deep. Maybe catch rain at the right point. I could be making it all up. We'll wait and see. But as the drivers leave the grid, no one is going anywhere near the hards, and we've got 6 drivers starting on the mediums, not including our Joker driver in Dustin. So I think that might be one of the only times this season we've seen the Joker stick with the traditional strategy, although I don't think tyre wear is much of a problem here. Even on a 1-stop, especially on a 2-stop, you'll be absolutely fine. You can push like you've got nothing to worry about basically the whole race. We didn't mention in qualifying, but it is worth pointing out that this is the old layout of Spa, which triggered a lot of accidents here. It was F1 2019 where we saw the big one at the top of Eau Rouge and Radion, but the curb on the way up the hill is still very much a death trap on F1 2020, so I wouldn't at all be surprised on lap 1 to see 1 or 2 cars spearing off into the hedges basically, because you'll touch the curb and you're dead. You're finished. So yeah, that's worth looking out for. I say new layer. The only other thing to actually look out for with this being the old layer is the exit of Stavilo, because the barrier is very much just poking out. Well, I'll point it out when Ben Shaw gets to it, but yeah, it's basically Eau Rouge and Stavilo that you've got to look out for here. Just just in case anyone fancies having any accidents today, that's where you'd be looking for it. Even on Pouon actually as well. Where the inside curve on the left, if you're looking on board here with Dustin, touch that curve, you're going to die as well. Actually, do you know what? Every corner we get to, either the piff path, as Chris McCarthy keeps calling it, chicane, you could lose it here too. We saw it happen in real life in F1, so it can happen here too. It's very difficult hitting on the inside curb. Here is the barrier I was going to point out on the left. Go wide, you're going to hit that, you will die. Quite a death trap, this track. You wonder where it gets its reputation from. That's where.
Thank you, Owen. Just some quick formalities for everybody else watching, as we do have a few more viewers this week compared to Spain.
You're right, Dua Lipa fan club.
And hello to them as well. 50,000 views now. Club card shootout. The battles are Ben Shaw versus Ben Harrett. Michael Okeke, who is not here, he will lose out to Kieran Spears, who advances to round 9. Jamie Wright versus Florian Meyer. And then Robin Border versus Arnaud de Grief at home. So that is what's up for stake. So really, 7 of them in contention. Kieran already through. It's almost time to get underway here in Belgium as Ben Shaw brings the drivers round onto the main straight for season 11 and round 8. It's throwback week in JACKOCAR. The Cup Series is live once again on prime time on YouTube. And Gareth Hall brings up the rear in P19. Owen White, it's almost time for those famous little words that you give to us.
Indeed, as Gareth parks it on the grid, it's a very short run towards turn 1. Dustin is our only joker tonight. Stage is lap 7 and 17. And when the lights go out, we'll be underway. But the lights aren't even coming on, for goodness sake. Here we go. They're making the drivers wait. 5 of them lighting up. They're the brightest thing on screen. It's that dark out there. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing in Spa. Looks like a decent enough start from the front row, but there's so many chances for some dive bombs into turn 1. So Ben being sensible and holding the inside line. A little bit wide, I think, for Arnaud, but he should be okay up the hill. It depends what sort of a run Johannes gets. He's now in third place, and Pete Knighton's had a relatively slow start for what he was hoping for. And you already see Kieran Spears going off. I mentioned it, the inside curve on the way up Eau Rouge and Radion. It's so easy to lose the car, and Kieran is the unlucky one. But meanwhile, at the front, here comes Arnaud, and taking lead on the inside of the Lake Column chicane. You often see a lot of cars go around the outside. It's quite easy to make that one work, so I'm surprised that Ben, well, let it happen really, but he has, as Florian, it looks like he's had an issue as well, but he's back underway. Jamie Griffiths losing a couple of positions and going wide on the way onto No Name, and side by side, look at that, Ben Shaw's had a big, or Ben Harrett, sorry, contact with Mike Kelborn's done loads of damage to his car, and you can see very much embodying Maldonado's spirit there, isn't he, as bits fly off the car all the way round the Pouon complex. Baza. And Baza, as you say, on the inside. Has Ben Harrett got any damage? I don't think so. I think it was mainly to Mike, frankly, the damage, but maybe he's just taking a moment to compose himself. And look who that is behind him, already in 11th place. It's Corey Dalton, and he's only 2 cars ahead of Tony, so I'll make that 3. So he's very much, the 2 of them, on their medians, making moves early on. Oh, big contact on the way through the back section there. That is incredible. Ben, I think it was Ben, I forget who he hit, to be honest. I was more amazed to see him losing it, frankly, Ben, but he was alongside someone, and that could have been an airplane crash. Now he has got frontline damage, and now there is a penalty for Ben Shaw. 3 warnings in a single lap, or did he just cut one corner on its own? That's remarkable.
Quite impressive for Ben Shaw. So Arnaud, the rightful leader after lap 1. I didn't see much else on that lap. I think you covered it quite well, Owen. There was contact, however, a bit of wing damage for one of the guys who was in the melee at the back of the grid on the exit of turn 1. Robin Border ran over the damage, but he managed to get away with it. He's still running all 4 tyres up, but there is a car out there with damage, and Ben Harrett's in the pits.
Yeah, it was Leroy that had contact with Ben Harrett. I mean, I was watching it, but I couldn't believe what I was watching, so it didn't actually occur to me, who is that who's just hit him? And there's more contact out there. Jimmy Wright was fighting away with Risky. And Risky, the car on the inside there, has picked up front wing damage. For once, it isn't Jimmy Wright. Maybe he should stick with blue rather than green. It's given a little bit more luck to him on this week. There's another accident up the hill, and that must be for Ben Harrett. And on those hard compound tyres, that's one way to heat them up, but it's not going to get you anywhere closer to the back of the pack, unfortunately. Florian's running around now with half a front wing, just waiting for the pits. Same with Mike. Both just sort of suffering in these conditions until they can, let's say, pit at the end of the next lap. I know it says that free on the top of the screen, but I assure you it is still lap 2. Johannes now has a penalty as well, which gives Arnoud a lot of breathing space. Arnoud, who is yet to win in season 11, but very much makes this track look easy, really. It is his home track, and he's very good at winning here. Jimmy Wright's going to get past the damaged car. There's more cars having contact behind. It's Jake picking up front wing damage, so he'll be chasing after Risky, who also, like we say, has that damage on his car. So yeah, a few drivers going to be changing front wings into stops, and Mike pitting a lap early, so it won't be a mandatory stop. That I think he probably could have kept going, to be honest. He was already at the back, he might as well stick with it. But anyway, second place is about to fall, and it's going to be Johannes who takes it ahead of Ben Shaw. And Pete on DRS just has to stay in touch. He's already in a net P2 with his lack of penalties so far, but he'll be obviously looking to try and get those positions on track naturally himself. He'll be targeting Arnoud, the man in the lead of this race. Jimmy Wright able to clear Sullivan, as we saw before, but he's not too far ahead now of Corey, who's just got past the damaged Jake. He'll be past the equally damaged Risky, and then he'll be only one car behind, and that'll be all those guys in the medians having a fantastic run at it.
Corey is a man on a mission. He's had an excellent run up through the field here. 2.5 laps into this race, he's made up, what's that, 11 positions, sniffing the back of Risky, obviously with that wing damage. Once he gets past Risky, Jamie Wright is the man who stands in the way, and that's when his race really comes alive. What can he do with the big names out front? Here goes Corey, another one bites the dust, as they say. Leroy leaves the session, he'll come back. Easy move for Corey though. Tony on his way through as well, just about to get past Jake O'Sullivan here. I'm sure the move will be complete into the bus stop. Risky looks to fight back further up the field, but leaves him to it, and Tony is a little bit more patient as the two broken wing cars enter the pit lane. Mandatory stops from this lap.
Important for Baza here to keep in touch, because he's also on these medians, and obviously I know he's been passed by the two cars that he would expect to be overtaken by, but if he can just stay within about 5 seconds of him, or maybe even closer, maybe I'm being unfair, maybe he's got good pace around here, has Baza, but if he can stay where he is basically, then he may well be looking quite good later on. Anyway,
battle for the lead.
We'll worry about him later on, because as you say, it is battle for the lead, because this is what I was expecting in the Lake Colm chicane. Moves around the outside, and Johannes, he had to make that one. He's got to make a 3-second gap. I'm telling you now, Arnoud, he's not going to let that one go easily. Surely up at the inside, and there's a big chance to lock up into here. It's the easiest place to get it wrong on the whole track. No way you go around the outside there, and you're going to have to let Johannes go through Arnoud. It was good fighting there, just to keep your nose in it, but good composure from Johannes to take the lead and keep it. Will he pull away? Yep. Will we go to the pits? Let's find out.
And these two have been quiet as well since their battle in Vietnam. Arnoud and Johannes have not really had good races since then. So it's good to see him fighting once again at the front. They are not dropping Ben Shaw. And also, keep in mind, Pete Knighton very much in this battle. And penalty free there in P4. Keep an eye on him as this race goes the distance. Jamie Wright is slowly being caught by Corey Dalton. It looks inevitable as he weaves left and right to signal to Corey. I don't know what he's signalling, but I'm sure it means something. Maybe he's going to make his life easy. Two old foes, 2 championships between them, obviously both to the name of Jamie Wright, but Corey waits his turn this time around.
Top 4 all stayed out on those softs, so they're going to continue to play about on their own, I think, for now. And possibly a chance for Arnoud to get back past at the top of the hill, but is it worth it? It looks like Johannes, as we maybe suspected, is faster. The DRS will help but it would be a bit of a waste to blow the whole tank of ERS, I think, right now for Arnold. It would cost him later on, so I think he's just going to hold on to second place. Corey, he has no cares about his ERS. I think he just knows he's faster, and so he has run out of ERS, but he has got up into P5. The timings have disappeared on our screens, but I can tell you he's about, or mine anyway, but I can tell you he's about 3 seconds behind those guys on Sauce's. Corey, he is on a mission, and it's a very successful mission so far. Gareth has just got past our Joker driver of Dustin, who for once is keeping everything nice and clean. Well, I say for once. I know we have seen a couple of Joker wins, but we see our midfield Jokers sometimes just get caught up in accidents so early on in these races.
Oh.
Right, okay.
Owen,
whatever.
do you want to continue talking, or do you want to just let the man drive? Because I was going to say much the same. He's having a good race. And then I was like, you know what, I'll leave it. We'll talk about the leaders. And that's why. And
I'm
now he's
so
being caught by
angry.
his German counterpart. That's your fault.
It is my fault. I can only apologise. He's got a penalty. He's ruined his race. Well, he hasn't ruined his race, but we might see more penalties. I can tell you that Johannes is surely a second ahead, but he has also got the bus stop chicane quite badly wrong. More importantly,
Pete
is pitting. More importantly than that, I suspect Corey might like the timer screens purple here. He does on those mediums. How fast are you? That is shocking. And he's 4 seconds behind the top three. Obviously, take out a second of that to counteract Pete's car. So he's flying here. I tell you, he could win this race. And it wouldn't even be much of a surprise. He's already won 3 times this season. He wants to break every record in the book this season. As Pete comes out of the pits on mediums.
Oh, Johannes, big moment into the turn 4. He lost about 2 tenths there. It won't look that dramatic on your screen as you rejoin us, Owen. But it has allowed Arnold to bring Ben Shaw with him as Arnold now locks up. But yeah.
Should really. I should have corrected you in qualifying, really. Turn 4, which you're talking about, is Lake Colm, which is turn 7. So, just in case it confuses the viewers.
Is that what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. It's just in case it confuses the viewers. I should have.
Because the viewers don't care.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't.
Entertainment.
But it confused me, because I'm waiting to see a car upside down up the hill or something, and I'm very disappointed to find someone just coming through Lake Colm chicane. It's like, oh, that's a bit boring, isn't it?
Okay, well, to sum it up, Arnold has very much gained on Johannes this lap because of an error at turn 4. I'll leave it at that.
Still got 19 cars in this race, and yes, I am trying to manifest something, because what's going on, people? You're being way too well behaved. We're seeing the field spread again, and yes, I know Corey's catching the top 3, but come on, guys. You're being too well behaved. I was told no one liked playing this game. It's too difficult. Oh, there's too much lag.
Oh, leaders pit.
Indeed. They have to. They've got to cover off Pete. If he'd sit out one more lap, Pete, now, and he may well have taken lead. He may well still move up into the podium positions. He has caught right up to the back of Dustin, which is very good news, because he gets DRS into the main straight. If he's able to stay behind without losing too much speed into turn 1, which I know sounds a bit stupid, he may also get DRS at the back of him on the way up the hill, but he may have to actually send it here. Let's see what he does. And we will stay on board so you can see where Johannes and co come out. And yeah, he has had to try and stay behind through turn 1, and it has cost him. It's cost him a little bit of speed. It won't cost him the place, though, against Ben Shaw. He's ahead of him. But now he needs Dustin to move out of the way, because he's going to want to try and get Arnold. And Dustin, he's sort of a blocker here, but it's not really, because it's poor position. He only has 1 pit stop left to make, as do these lot. But I think he maybe could have got at Arnold there if Dustin wasn't there. But hey, listen, like I say, he doesn't have to move out of the way. He's there legitimately, is Dustin. And like we say, keeping his nose clean is all he really needs to do today to get a decent result. And yeah, he's with the front runners now. Speaking of which, we've got Gareth Hall about to deal with a man who's had a bit of beef with after Monaco, and he said after Jake also crashed him out in Spain last time out. We did say it, but it was very hard to tell what happened. It was Jake just turning into Gareth, who was on his Joker at the time. Point is, it's 2 front running cars and 2 races who have annoyed and ruined this man's race, and he is basically taking no precautions anymore. He's racing these guys like it's for actual position, which means Johannes has a difficult job on his hands, potentially. He's just going to breeze past him, isn't it?
Really tight though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Gareth made that corner unnecessarily tight for Johannes, so there is.
He will get DRS. in fairness. He's not going to dive him back. He's not that petty, I don't think.
Oh, he is. He is.
Well.
I'll tell you what, just quickly before it all kicks off, someone who is having a good race, Barry Baldwin, up in P4. I know he's out of position at the minute, but he's going very strongly.
What's happened here then? So, Dustin's pitted, but so's Ben Shaw.
Another race falling apart for Ben Shaw. Is there wing damage, perhaps? Wing.
I mean, we were watching on board with Pete. We saw how hard it was for him to follow. He's broken his front wing.
Oh, and you need that round here as well. That's very important.
Yeah, but Pete was patient. Ben clearly wasn't. So, yeah, and Dustin pitting in front of him as well. That is his only stop for the day. All being well, so we'll keep an eye on where he ends up. Anyway, up at the front. Look at Baza. Look at the blocking job Baza's doing.
Go on, Baza.
And that is a proper blocking job. Where's Gareth? He may fancy getting back involved with this now, because that is this is the United Nations team. So just trying to work out who Baza's doing this for. And from what I can tell, he's just doing it for fun. He's just doing it for the fun of it. Because
he loves it.
None of his teammates are involved in this battle, I don't think. So he is just doing this to irritate Johannes, I think. Or maybe he's just that slow. But I don't want to say that because it's rude, really, isn't it?
It's helping Corey, though. Penalty for Pete. Here goes Johannes. Baz's defence is no more.
He's out of ERS. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know if it's over yet. Go on. You've got the...
Throw out this.
Oh, no, he's going to save it. How has he done that?
Oh, my goodness me.
How have you even managed to lose it there, in fairness? But then again, the save makes up for it. But it's a shame now, because he had the ERS to definitely fight back with the DRS. But instead, he's just made save of the season. On board, I must add as well. So no escaping that one, Baza. We all saw it.
That's unbelievable. Jamie Wright now leads this race, by the way.
Well, he's tried to do some sort of blocking job as Baza, and it's helped Jamie Wright, I suppose. I mean, maybe that was the plan, just help your teammate while he's out in the free air. Here comes Arnaud on Gareth. Both cars have DRS, but Arnaud is going to get through. Pete Knighton, we did see his penalty come up, but he's still there.
Arnaud is very much with Johannes at this point. Obviously, the blocking from Baza has helped that. But he is showing his best pace he has all season. What does Pete do, meanwhile, behind Gareth, who has a little moment, and then another off-the-track excursion? But Pete in contention as well for this win, which is so nice to say. It's refreshing, isn't it?
It is indeed, but I've just realised who Corey's behind, so is it going to be a bit more blocking now for Baza to do after his yes, it is.
So that's silly.
Low broken front wing. The whole left-hand side is gone. And I'll say it again, we were on board with it. There's no escaping that one. You've just smashed into him, haven't you? Surely Corey should have known that Baza wouldn't have had anywhere near the same pace as him into the chicane there. That just felt very reckless. I'm sure he's done it by accident, don't get me wrong, that's a complete accident. But it just felt like he wasn't thinking there.
Complete accident, but 100% of the blame goes to Mr. Dalton, the man going for 3 wins in a row. Baza pits.
He's
Corey, he is angry. He's hit his car on the way in, so's Baza. They both lose traction. He is unhappy. And that is not how Corey wanted things to go this evening.
So a second crash of the evening then. This one a lot more costly than the qualifying accident, because we are not at the second stage yet. But I don't actually know who won the first stage. It might have been Corey, actually. I don't know if everyone had already picked by then.
Lap 7, Corey. It's the only lap he's led this race.
So at least you got that on the board, but he's not looking likely to pick up anything else unless we get any safety cars, which means Tony would be the man on the charge now on those mediums, but he's not as fast as Corey. He'd lost about 5 seconds to him before the accident, so we'll see what he can do. He's just got past Leroy as our race leader, gets a time penalty, Jimmy Wright. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on Tony's progress, but he's a long way from Johannes, Arnaud and Pete, who are looking like the runaway top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, Pete Knighton actually has had a moment. He's dropped back from Arnaud, so must have either took a long time to get round Gareth, or he has, like I say, had a moment somewhere. He does remain P3 net, which is good for him. We are, of course, waiting for Jamie Wright to come in and pit, probably on this lap, I dare say. Let's ride on board as the yellow flags come out. Safety car, perhaps. Not this time. Jamie Wright also stays out. Will lead another lap. This will be number 5 on the season.
Wonder if Robin,
two-time champion.
Wonder if Robin hit the inside curve on Pooh on there, because it was a very, very short yellow, but it certainly seemed to be for him. And I saw that, Dustin. That was just miles off the track. There was no curse from me on that one. You're just pushing your luck there, getting that penalty. I'm not taking the blame for that one. As it's brightened up, by the way. Suddenly it's brightened up. So yeah, we mentioned potential for rain. Dark. Yeah, no, we might actually get to see some of these cars. Thank goodness we have 2 throwback races this week, because this one's just been dreadful for actually seeing what's going on. I'm looking at the YouTube stream. You can see nothing. It's just a dark, miserable day. Let's see if you can see this. Arnaud taking the net race lead. He already had it because of the penalties, but he's done it on pace now. And Johannes, he has to fight back or force Arnaud into some sort of mistake, or else he'd be watching a victory, what would be a third win of the season, disappear from his grasp. And Arnaud, he'd love to win his home race for the first time winning this season. He's obviously won this race 2 or 3 times already, so he knows how to win here. And he's back in the net race lead. Arnaud,
by the way, last race...
Look at this. Sorry, you may have seen what I've seen, but that's Ben, Shaw and Corey, of course, who both had bad days, fighting with Mike, and, those two might give us some entertainment for the next wee while, even if it's only for 13th place. Anyway, back to your point.
Yeah, I was just saying, last race we had in Spain, Corey tied Arnaud for 14 wins apiece. Which means Arnaud is looking for number 15.
He's going to try and pass him
to do it.
No, he's going to back off. Look at the closing speed Johannes had there, though. I thought he was definitely going for that for a moment. You'd imagine he's going to breeze straight back past him on the straight here.
Or not with an exit like that.
He may not mind having a bit of a gap, actually, coming up the hill. Gives him plenty of time to close in the switching, because sometimes if you're too close coming out of turn 1, you catch the driver ahead too early, up at the top of the hill, and you have to lift off or else it's going to be an accident. You may even see an example of it here, because look at how much he closes in, and he's just about judged it right as Johannes. So if he didn't have that bad exit at the last corner, he probably would have had to lift off, if that makes sense, on the way up the hill, because he would have been too close. He had a tiny lift this time, but not enough to put him off. He's back in the lead. We may well see a bit more of that going back and forth between the top 2. It keeps Pete Knight away as well, because it means that they're constantly feeding off each other's DRS. So there's a mutual gain to be had by fighting in that manner. Right, Ben Shaw's cut back a Robin, and he's broken his front wing. Has he? Yes, he has. He's lost half the front wing.
He has.
We didn't see it, but he's lost it. And look how boring you are. You're going to let Corey through and everything. I was coming to this for some excitement from you, and you've gone and ruined everything by having an accident. And Corey's got a penalty as well, but he's still going to go for a move on Robin. He just pushed him out of the way, and he's still pushing him. He's pushed him up. What's he done to you today, Corey? It's not his fault, is it? Poor Robin.
Yeah,
that was horrible.
I don't think Robin and Corey have ever met on track before. That was so unnecessary.
I'm sure Robin will be looking forward to the next time, but if that's the way he has to drive, my goodness.
Driving frustrated, isn't he? But Corey, by the way, on a Cup Series, probably even a JACKOCAR record, Jamie Wright Pitts, yes. 8 podiums in a row, which looks like it could be coming to an end.
Yes. Well, do you know what, actually? I'm not going to say that, because you never know what's going to happen in this race. One safety car, we're not at the second stage yet. We'll see a lot of people closing in on each other in the closing stages, perhaps. Up at the front, though, I think these two at the front will be hoping for no safety cars, because, like we say, they very much seem to have the plan, and they're just sort of executing it to perfection, really. I'm telling you, this is on purpose. There's no point fighting this. They are racing for 2 different teams, so it's not like it's a teammate helping a teammate thing. It's just, it makes sense to not bog each other down by, I've got DRS, but I'm not going to try and pass you because I don't want to be done on DRS in the next lap, because that'll just let P9 catch up. So, yeah, just pass each other each lap. be sensible, and actually fight at the end. Unless it's a safety car, which may invite the likes of Tony and Jamie right into the pack as well. Jamie, who should have a bit of pace on him now. Not saying he didn't before, but obviously he was on older mediums, so we didn't get to see it properly. We should now, because he's only 12, 13 seconds off the lead, not too bad. He should be able to close that gap down over the next sort of 4 or 5 laps. Then he'll be back in as well, obviously, for his second stop. I tell you what, another thing Arnoud's doing brilliantly here. He's got no penalties, and most of the rest of the grid, I know what's about to happen, but I know that most of the rest of the grid have got penalties. So that's another thing that's really helping Arnoud out here today and showing why he's the deserving winner so far of this race.
Sorry, I am Hero, and I was just doing a VAR check on who led lap 12. It was Jamie Wright as he pitted. Now means I've got to catch up and see who led lap 13. But yeah, Pete Knighton, by the way, is just about eating into that lead as the two leaders fight up through Radion. Johannes is going to have another go here.
Same as before.
Same as before.
He's catching a lot earlier than Arnoud is up the hill. That might concern Arnoud towards the end of this race if he does pick up a penalty and doesn't have to pass Johannes for the win. Or no, if he does pick up a penalty and does have to pass Johannes for the win, it'll occur to him that Johannes catches him at the sort of Radion, where Arnoud catches on the entry to Les Combes, which means Johannes is faster. It's basically the point I'm making. So that might concern him. So yeah, he'll be really hoping he picks up no pens, because if he does, that'll make his life a hell of a lot more difficult. It was also worth pointing out that Leroy has just been in the pits. That was the last driver who needed to make their first stop. So if it means if we do get a safety car and it happens at the right time, everyone could make their second stops under said safety car, which means you could well see a lot of stacking and stuff like that. Johannes completely blew up track limits there on the exit of Stavolo. I know there are some points on this track where you can do that, but that felt like he was way too wide. So that he could be on his way to another penalty as well. He's really having to push here. And yellows. There's a white car. Robin has had a spin. So is it? Yes, that's gonna be that curve again, isn't it? Through Pouon. He may have hit it again. I suspect he hit it earlier, and now he's got a 10-second penalty for taking too long to get back on track, which never makes any sense to me. Why the game can't recognise that he's not getting an advantage by spinning off and taking ages to get back on track and losing many positions. You get my point. Bit of an unfortunate penalty that. And Arnoud, I don't think is going to get past Johannes this time. So yeah, I think that'll maybe confirm my thoughts and maybe Arnoud's thoughts as well, that Johannes is indeed the faster of the two, and he can't catch him. And even if he does get ahead, he knows Johannes can just get straight back past. I said they've even worked together. I'm sure it was happy days for Johannes, all of that. But for Arnoud, he may have had to do it just to keep in the game, and now we'll see what he can do. Haven't had a lap where he can't get past. Can he pick up his game? Will he want to try and get that second stage point? Does he really care? Like I say, the penalty for Johannes means he'll win the race anyway. Arnoud, assuming no accidents happen. And assuming he doesn't get any penalty himself, obviously. So, this is an interesting phase of the race for the man in a car. We still don't actually know what it's meant to be in the mystery machine. I'll just go over it. In the mystery machine. What is it meant to be? It's going to really annoy me, this. He's running the number 14, so maybe it's Alonso's Indy 500 car from 2020. It was that colour, wasn't it? It was something like that.
He hasn't told me. I can't really help you with what it is.
I'm going to go with Alonso's Indy 500 car, his most recent attempt, and hope that it had orange on it. It definitely had green on it. I'm going to look it up, because it's bugging me. It's really bugging me, because we're in a throwback week, and there's a potential that the man who's going to win this race, we haven't a clue what he's running. And that, I don't think it's ever happened before.
I hope that on Thursday we get a new selection of liveries. That'd be really nice.
No, it looks nothing like. It looks nothing like his Indy. Well, it had orange wing mirrors, and then it was a blue and white body. It's just not the same, is it? I have no idea what this car is. I agree with you, though. I know you're making a point. I hope we do see other liveries.
Yeah, because I tell you what, these have been decent. Whether we've got them right or wrong or not is something else, but let's see a new batch on Thursday. Hopefully in the sun of Brazil. It has started to come out here in Belgium. We're definitely not going to get any rain at this point. But yeah, it was very dark. Not been able to enjoy these liveries and the colours for the early part of the race. Arnaud 7 tenths behind Johannes still. Pete Knighton's dropped away, by the way, but still holds on to P3. That is his position. Tony's done well from the back of the grid. P4. Jamie Wright, still P5.
I saw that Dustin had taken the very long way round Radion. He'd taken like the old pit exit line. So that must have been saving a potential accident. So if that is what that was, good job that you've not put it in the wall. But not a successful Joker as of yet. Well, because of the penalties. He actually... Sorry.
I'm just laughing at the understeer on Kieran's point of view down in P19. The two idiot pad drivers at the back of the grid not having a very good day of it. Kieran's all over the place.
But still going,
as
so
you were.
Got to give him the credit,
yeah,
I suppose.
Still going.
But,
everyone is.
I was just going to say that actually, even though this isn't working out fantastically in terms of penalties, he should still come out relatively somewhere in the top 10 as Arnaud very late on the brakes and nearly hitting Johannes as he gets through on the entry to Les Combes once again. Like I say, he's leaving it so late on the straight. He used all his ERS for it. He's low on fuel, so he's having to seriously send it if he wants to get into the lead of this race. So yeah, I think that will concern him that he's having goes back for it. Won't have to try as hard. Crucially though, maybe he was trying, because this is obviously the stage lap, so
it's a stage lap.
That
yeah.
maybe that in that sense, maybe that will give him a bit more hope, Arnaud, that he can do it on track, because he'll want to do it on track. I know the penalty will do it for him, but he wants to do it on track.
Arnaud has only collected 3 playoff points this season as well, so when it comes to the postseason, he's way down. So a point for leading this lap, and maybe even a race win, that would give him 6. I'm sure he'd be more than happy with that. It'd put him on 10. Coincidentally, if you're interested, playoff points are Corey Dalton 31, Johannes 18, Yori and Jake on 11, Ben Shaw has 6. That is the top 5 as it stands. But Arnaud will put himself onto 4 for the season then. Stage 2 race winner, not race winner, Stage 2 winner Arnaud de Grief, the all-time leader when it comes to stage wins as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish my thought on Dustin, because I'm very aware I interrupted myself with the race for the lead, and I'm going to do it again in a second. Point is, he should come out somewhere in the top 10 after all the other pit stops are done. We'll see if he can hold it from there. Let's watch Johannes take the lead again. And he's going to do it very early on like he did last time, unless there's anything Arnaud can do. I don't think there is anything he can do. Maybe this is a point in time where he's just going to start saving the ERS, just in case he does pick up a penalty. Obviously in the pits, you can save a bit of ERS as well. I also want to now go back to the fight for P10, because this has been great to watch. Because Mike's really struggling for grip in this Williams, and he's got Baza looking so aggressive behind him in the Renault, and Leroy in the other Renault. Corey's also passing Gareth, but that's just on DRS. I don't think there's anything Gareth can do about that. These 3, though, fighting for P10. This should be interesting, because let's say I'm surprised how aggressive Baza is and has been today. So anything involving him fighting another car. Oh, he's been hit. He's been hit by Leroy. Well, there goes a 3-car battle. It becomes a 2-car battle. Luckily, Baza's not the one who's got damage, though. But Leroy, that was another week, another broken front wing. It has to be said.
Baza's been great today as well. I know he's down only in P11, but he's been fantastic to watch. Really putting on a show for everyone. Great to see. 3-second penalty for Kieran at the back. And Arnaud has been repassed by Johannes, as you covered. But yeah, pit stops can start, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Johannes and Arnaud are in. What will Pete Knighton do? He will also pit. He doesn't want to be undercut. So in he goes. So does Tony.
And Tony's done well here to catch up to Pete Knighton. He's only 1.5 seconds off from him. Jamie Wright similarly 1.5 seconds off Tony. So that battle for P3 will get close towards the end of this. I was going to suggest, Arnaud, was it worth him trying to make a move into the bus stop? Oh no! Pete having to stack there with Arnaud, was that? Will that cost him? It does! Tony's got in front of him. Ah dear, that's a shame for Pete. Nothing you can do about that. But he will be within DRS at least, but so will Tony on Sullivan, so yeah, there's absolutely no benefit to that whatsoever for Pete. But I was going to suggest, was it worth Arnaud going for a move into the bus stop chicane to try and get into the pits first? Because you always lose more time than you think in the pits.
Tony's been slowed down by Sullivan.
Yeah,
he had to get right out of it.
Not by enough. He's up into P3 and he may well pull away. As much as Pete's been helped out there by Sullivan, it's not enough. And Jimmy Wright couldn't get past Gareth Hall there. Look, they were fighting away into Lecon. But yeah, you always lose more time in the pits compared to the car in front, which is why Arnaud's 1.5 seconds back. So I'm surprised Arnaud didn't just try and drain the battery, send it into the bus stop, and then he would have come out of the pits ahead of Johannes. Now, Johannes has breathing space. We think he's quicker over a lap than Arnaud, and Arnaud won't get any DRS now to fight with. Which means, as we just let's watch the end of this battle first. But yeah, Jimmy Wright getting through there. But it means that Johannes is now surely the favourite for this race. In fact, I'd almost say yes, he is. He is the favourite for this race now, Johannes. I'll say that with 100% confidence. He will win this race.
That's a shame, isn't it? I said tonight I wanted a new race winner.
I want to be proven wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I just can't see it. Seeing how hard Arnold had to fight to save in DRS, he needs Johannes to get another penalty. I think sorry. He's got 6 seconds. Ah, okay. Okay.
Oh, does he?
Well, I didn't notice that. But thank goodness we checked. But that actually does take the stain out of it completely. So, oh well. Let's look at a driver who's pitting. Okay, I thought it was a battle, but he's pitting his Bazza, so there's no excitement there. What's wrong with you lot? Oh, you boring lot. Shouldn't say that, really.
No, they are. Last week and now this week. Maybe Brazil brings us more entertainment.
Better. Oh, is that?
Oh, just in the wall!
I caught that on the stream, but it's only lap 20. Is it too late for a safety car? Please don't. Please. I don't beg very often in these streams, but please. Oh, it's too late for a safety car, isn't it?
Oh,
you've
Dustin.
crashed for no reason. We caught it on stream, but Dustin, you've crashed for no reason whatsoever. No one's even hitting you on their way out of the pits.
If you're gonna crash, at least manipulate the race result.
I know, at least
that's just pathetic.
At least we're gonna say now all we can say is that not all the drivers finished the race. Where's the fun in that? That just ruins a stat.
Useless.
Sums the race up though, doesn't it? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Here's Jimmy Wright on the back of Sullivan. He's lost
Sullivan
out
yet to pit,
massively in this pit stop phase, by the way. He must have had to do some stacking or a front wing change as well, because I mean there's no way Sullivan has cost him 5 seconds by blocking him. So yeah, Jimmy Wright, who was catching Tony, was catching Pete, is now nowhere near either of them. Tony as well has the fastest lap of the race, so let me just check his penalties just to make sure he's on 3 seconds. Yes, he's on 3 seconds, as is Pete. That's important because it means Pete has to catch up and make the pass for the podium himself, which, as it stands, isn't going to happen. Sullivan changing onto some new softs. I think we're really set to see one more pit stop today. That'll be for Jamie Griffiths, who needs to make it soon, preferably. Leroy's really sped on his way into the pits. That's not really very useful, is it? And Jamie is making his last pit stop. So there's all those sorted and done with. I suppose we can watch the lead in battle. And do you know what, actually? I did say I wanted to be proven wrong about Arnaud. Hopefully he can finish within 3 seconds so that he'll at least have outdone that, because I did actually think Johannes would pull over 3 seconds. I was pretty sure of it. I still am, to a certain extent, really, but we'll find out, really. But Corey recovering back to P7, I think he'll be livid with it. But in fairness, with how bad that race has ended up going for him, I think he might take it.
Yeah, he certainly recovered better than what Ben Shaw did, who's just moved up into P13 ahead of Leroy. But for the penultimate time, you'll never guess what's coming. It's the bus stop chicane. And once we round this corner and get the power down with Johannes, it's going to be 1 lap to go. Not sponsored by Credit One Bank because we are not legally allowed to say that. Into turn 1 he comes then. But Arnaud still very much inside the window, and it looks like it's going to be another home win for the Belgian as Owen Wyatt takes us to the end of this race. Just Kieran in between them at the minute, but I don't think it's going to matter too much.
Yeah, and rather fittingly, I mentioned Arnaud's lack of penalties being the key reason for his victory. That is going to be the case, and he is now the only driver out there who hasn't got a penalty. Dustin did have penalties before he crashed out. So yes, Arnaud, assuming he doesn't do something really stupid on this lap and go and pick a penalty up just to ruin the stat, that'd be a very impressive way to win the race. Johannes, though, is the man leading on track. He'll know that if he had just kept within track limits, he probably would have won this race relatively carefree. He's got the pace over Arnaud. Kieran nearly into the wall there behind him. He did pick up a penalty for it. He must have tapped the wall. There's not much space between the edge of the track and the wall there on the old layout, which is what we are on. But he's not going to get in Arnaud's way, I don't expect. He's about a second and a half ahead. There is still a fight between Sullivan Lewis, Gareth Hall. Sullivan winning that fight. He had DRS as well. Can he go for a late attempt at fastest lap? I think he's probably a bit slow for that compared to the other guys because they set their tyres on the same sort of new softs. But, you know, a DRS move always helps in that case. He's got DRS for it. We'll keep an eye on it. Arnaud has fallen to over 3 seconds behind, so I'm going to take that as my confirmation that Johannes would have won the race if he just kept it in track limits, but he hasn't. He's going to cross the line. It'll be P2 for Johannes. Oh, well, or will it? Because Arnaud's got that all run out of the final corner, and that might be the least ceremonious way to win your home race. And I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it was pretty poor.
It was pretty poor on Kieran's part, actually.
Oh, was
just
it?
Not getting out of the way, yeah, not Arnaud's fault at all.
Okay, I apologise, Arnaud. Arnaud wins his home race, and he was nearly sabotaged by the Force India. But yes, he's won here again. He's into the playoffs. He was going to get into the playoffs anyway, but he is our 5th race winner in 8 races. Tony in 3rd, Pete 4th, Jimmy Wright 5th, Jake 6th, Corey, a very upset, disappointed and angry 7th, Sullivan in 8th, Gareth 9th, Mike 10th, and Baza 11th. We've still got a few cars going round. Florian Ben, Leroy, Jimmy Griffiths. Jeez, we're still... How far are you lot behind? Robin, and we got Ben, and then Kieran's just going to do the whole lap, isn't he? Because he just had to... didn't he? Oh, no, he hasn't, sorry. I thought he had a penalty on. No, he did finish the race. He was a lap down. So yes, Arnaud wins. Nearly got taken out by Kieran. The reason I was so disappointed is because on F123, me and Khalifa were watching him in the party when it was the race I call the red flag, but it was a race where he, out of the final corner, did just spin out of the final corner when he hit the wall. So I thought he might have done that again. Because he's got precedent for it, but he didn't do that. He won the race by 1.5 seconds in the end. And, well, that's 2 races. That's 2 absolute bore fests. So hopefully Brazil can give me something to talk about, which isn't how embarrassing was that mistake. How stupid are you? He broke the front wing again. Oh, he's got a puncture. How about excitement next time? Give me some Pete Knighton being an absolute lunatic. Because we had that. We had that last time we were in this game on Brazil. Give us some of that next week.
Pete Knighton unhinged, that's what we want to see. However, the streak for now continues to 170 races. That's all I really have for you, unfortunately. Yeah. What a shame, a race that promised so much, and it was just quite simple in the end. Justin retiring too late, and that was it. Yeah, the amount of penalties, they should be ashamed of themselves. Apart from Arnaud. Race well done, and I think Baza deserved a top 10 based on his performance.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he was exciting enough. At least we'll give him some pity points for that. But yeah, I gotta give my what hopefully will become usual disclaimer. So they're doing it with fan club. We are interesting, I swear. Keep watching. I like her songs. Jacko likes her songs. We all like her. You should like us in return. That's all I've got to say. Thank you. Thanks for watching. But yes, we'll be back on Thursday for the second part of Throwback Week. Hopefully we'll know what all the liveries are this time. Maybe, Jacko, you should get everyone to tell you, because I had the clue. And yes, it will be Brazil. It will be the last race before we do the Chase Duel, which I keep forgetting what that is, to be honest. But I'm going to let you explain that next week when it actually starts. Because I don't think you could be arsed right now, could you? So, like I'm saying, do it fan club, that's all they're here, and they're probably chased away by my begging, so that's about all I have to say on that one. So we'll be back in Brazil on Thursday night. Hopefully it'll be an exciting race. We need one. Right, I'm gonna stop. I'll get. You'll see you on Thursday. Safe travels. Cheerio.